Shalom. Shalom and welcome. This is Man's Final Steps, a continuing series to those that would be among the ranks of the 144,000 and multitude mentioned in Revelation 7 and 14th chapter. Today is January 9th, 2014, and in this segment of Man's Final Step, it is entitled Distant Audience and Many Groups. Distant Audience and Many Groups. My brothers and sisters, come take some time with me. I strongly consider these words important regarding the subject of distant audience and many groups. Allow me to begin with, we are scattered. We were scattered to be weakened further and to be humbled because of our disobedience. If you doubt this, consider Deuteronomy 28th chapter 64th verse. It reads as follows: And Yahuwah shall scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone. I encourage you to read the entire chapter, my brothers and sisters, and you will see that it describes curses to the people, the children of Yahuwah, who became disobedient. Now consider when the Mashiach came, how he stated how no rain divided against itself can stand. Consider Matthew 12 chapter 25th verse. It reads as follows: And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said to them, Every rain divided against itself is laid waste, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. Do you know a promise of restoration and reunification exists? Does this text or verse that I'm about to read provide expectations that there will one day be a gathering before the return of our Mashiach? That verse is Isaiah 11:12. And I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, there are other verses similar to this. Isaiah 11:12 read, And he shall raise a banner for the nations, and gather the outcasts of Yasharal, and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. As I read the next verse, consider asking yourself, who are these people? Where are they coming from? Those verses are Revelation 7:4, which reads, And I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 sealed out of all the tribes of the children of Yasharal. Moving down to verse 9, same chapter, 7th chapter of Revelation. After this I looked and saw a great crowd which no one was able to count, out of all nations and tribes and peoples and tongues, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, dressed in white robes and palm branches in their hands. Moving further down to the 14th verse, same chapter, 7th chapter of Revelation. And I said to him, Master, you know, and he said to me, These are those coming out of the great distress, having washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, what do you think the characteristics of the 144,000 and multitude will resemble? Do you think we will witness this gathering during our generation's lifetime? Now consider this, my brothers and sisters. Remember, the title of this segment, Distant Audience and Many Groups. There are only 24 hours in a day, 7 days per week, on the average 30 days per month, 365 days in a year, depending on whose calendar you recognize, or 12 months in a year. Now, if 7 days equal 168 hours, you can subtract 24 hours of rest to acknowledge the Shabbat. This will leave you with 144 hours left for the week. Now, if you get on the average of 7 hours of sleep, 6 days per week, and I'm saying 6 because I've already acknowledged Shabbat, This will equal 6 times 7 hours will equal 42 hours of sleep during that 6-day period. Now subtract that from 144 hours which you had left after Shabbat. It will leave you a balance equal to 144 hours. Now subtract that from 144 and it will give you a balance of 102 hours. In other words, we started out with 168. We subtracted 24 for Shabbat. That took us to 144. We took 42 hours of sleep, 7 hours each day for 6 days. Taking 42 hours from 144 leaves us with 102 hours. Now let's take an average work week of 35 hours, and this leaves you with 67 hours over a period of 6 days. Now if you spent 1 hour per day, 6 days per week to wash, bathe, and or shower each day, and remember I've already accounted for the 24-hour period for Shabbat, this will leave you with 61 hours, my brothers and sisters. Now subtract 2 hours per day to eat, which may include fixing the meal and or going to purchase it. 2 hours per day for 6 days will be 12 hours in a 6-day cycle, leaving you now with 49 hours. 49 hours. For we were at 61 minus 12 gives you 49 hours. Now if you commute to work and back, or take up to a half hour going and a half hour returning each day for 5 days, this will total 5 hours. Take this from your current balance of 49 and you now are left with 44 hours over a 6-day period. Now if you have any children that require your time, let's say 3 hours per day over 6 days, this would total 18 hours and leave you with a new balance of 26 hours. Now if once per week you wash clothes and or took 2 hours for other things, your new balance roughly would be 24 hours over a span of 6 days. This will lead you roughly with 4 hours per day for things I left out, which are very diverse and many. I'm quite sure many of you can think of things I left out, such as helping the children with homework, going the extra mile, spending some quality time with your husband or wife. I ask you, my brothers and sisters, is time a precious thing provided by the Most High Father Yahuwah? Is Yahushua HaMashiach's time valuable? The time he takes to teach us and bring things to remembrance? Do you consider his time valuable? My brothers and sisters, would it be safe to say during end times our schedules will become pressed as latter-day prophecies come to be visible, as they reach our doorsteps, as we witness them right before our face? Prophecies dealing with famine, drought, pestilence, and disease will bring an array of major challenges in each of our lives. Do you agree? So then, can we agree that it would be wise to begin managing our time with discipline? As you can see, we can easily consume the hours in a week. I pray that by now I've gotten your attention regarding time. Everything we do shares or receives a portion of our time, and we are an audience to each action which benefit from our attention. In other words, my brothers and sisters, these are man's final steps. There is much work to be done. A group of us, we have been scattered, but as we wrap up these final days to come, we will witness a unifying action towards the obedience of the Most High Father Yahuwah. We will witness the beginning of unification as guided and directed by the Spirit of Yahushua. and through his chosen leaders. The 144,000 in multitude will rise, and there will be an emergence, of which will prove prophecies to be true regarding what has been stated in scriptures. I realize we face many uncertainties as well as many distractions and or influences, all trying to manage our time or distract us from hearing the living guidance provided by the Spirit of Yahushua. I have witnessed individuals who have placed their feet or foot in many camps. In other words, they divide their time up to participate in many camps, fellowships, groups, meetings, etc. I know there are many believers who are spreading themselves thin, trying to have their feet or foot in a little of everything. Many who believe that this is the right thing to do in an effort of playing it safe, so to speak. When we do this, my brothers and sisters, we are giving time to a little of everybody. In every place we venture, trying to play it safe, per se, or so to speak, these behaviors make for distant audience. Now, I'm not saying how we connect to one another, those who are connecting and we are separated by time and space. I'm referring to distant audience when you're trying to be involved with many different groups. It is most difficult to forge relationships because we don't spend enough time with one another. The fruit of contributing to this type of distant audience, this type of construct or model, it leads to many groups. Believe it or not, it promotes the time of spending a little bit here, a little bit there, and it is not the most wisest decision to make. Whether we have talked ourselves into believing it is a safe way to go, it is a way of playing it safe, I submit to you this will come to an end, my brothers and sisters. The fruit of contributing to distant audience, that type of model that leads to many groups, will lead to destruction. Remember, no reign divided against itself can stand. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the time will come, and is here already, when we must begin to pray and choose wisely who we will direct our attention, who will win our audience, what audience we will participate in. The time will come when we must choose one and only one. I submit to you that time is here. Let us seek to pray and choose wisely who we will direct our time as we believe we are guided by the Most High Father. Those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude, yes, these individuals, we will begin to witness a drawing power like never before. The call is going out. The refining process has begun, and we will witness a demise or a disappearing of distant audience models when it comes to having all these fragmented and small groups, camps, fellowships, etc. What we have seen represent many groups with people who have a presence in multiple assemblies. This will end among the obedience. The ranks of the 144,000 multitude will prove to be a group of individuals who will come together, who will no longer partake in contributing to all of these fragmented, small, and distant camps, participating in a distant audience concept. Also, many groups will merge into larger groups, and much larger groups will come into even larger groups to answer the call, the orders, the command of the gathering of the 144,000 in multitude. Pray and watch. my brothers and sisters, get ready. Your calling and your chosen purpose will become clear and much clearer as we, as you, as I continue to go through this refining process. Over the foreseeable future, we will find ourselves drawn as the Spirit of Yahushua proves what He is indeed ordering from those who seek to worship and obey, as well as those chosen to participate in Scripture fulfillment regarding the 144,000 in multitude. Remember, no permission is required. We will come to grips one day soon with how to respond to orders, yes, commands from the Spirit of Yahushua, or through His chosen leaders. Pray and watch. These days will come to be. The time to focus and narrow the number of groups that we are involved in is at hand. We will witness all of these different groups that we have given our audience, these distant audience models. Again, I am referencing to those who have their feet in a little bit of everyone's camp or who visit many ministries versus being guided by the Spirit of Yahushua and gathered with a group that is being neatly formed and shaped, a group that will be brought together and merged with even a larger group to bring about the structure and visibility of the 144,000 and multitude. So the time to be in all these different groups will come to an end, my brothers and sisters. It is time we begin to focus and make a decision as we believe we're guided. I strongly encourage each and every listener to pray and seek living directions. Choose wisely and get in place, lest we find ourselves in a lukewarm position of regret with our feet in a little bit of everything, trying to quote unquote play it safe. It's time for us to choose either to remain distant and fragmented or begin to participate in the process of being gathered and unified. As I stated, the time is at hand now. Until next time, my family, remember the damage that could result with participating in distant audience in many groups. In other words, taking part in all of these groups that are distant and scattered throughout the face of the earth. It's time, my brothers and sisters, to realize that we who are a body of one will be unified, will be brought together. So please note, when I am referring to many groups that perpetuate or create distant audiences, that receive people who participate in many other fellowships, this is the model which will come to an end. So please note, I am absolutely not saying by participating in fellowship with individuals who are distant is wrong. For in our distance, if we are focused, if we are guided by the Spirit of Yahushua, we will find ourselves drawn together and contributing to the emergence of a body of one as directed by the Spirit of Yahushua. So my brothers and sisters, let us be mindful. Are we playing it safe? Are we involved with many compromising teachings and organizations and camps? Or are we following the Spirit of Yahushua and being guided, being drawn together, refined, perfected, and brought together to participate in the gathering of 144,000 in multitude as described in Scriptures? What say you, my brothers and sisters? Think very strongly of who will get your attention, of who will have you in audience. Pray and seek to discern what is right. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, stay tuned as man's final steps continue. As the series continue, I pray that these words contribute to the refining and perfecting process as I believe I am compelled to do. May the Spirit of Yahushua confirm and bear witness. May the Spirit of Yahushua make alive these words, that they stir within your soul, within your mind, that they are indeed working words from the Father. If this be the case, then truly Isaiah 55:11 will have its toll. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, stay tuned as the series continue. Shalom, shalom, shalom.